I'm starting off breaking my fast with my coffee. You guys know how I have my coffee. I show you guys this all the time. And since I'm not technically keto right now, I have oat milk going into my coffee. Because I don't want to overdo it on sugars, I keep it to exactly 2 tablespoons, no more, no less. Also, if I feel like I want to sweeten my coffee, I use monk fruit sweetener. So you guys know the chicken pizza crust that is trending on TikTok and all over Instagram. I decided to try it. Let me show you how I made mine. I did things a little bit differently. In mine, I wanted more of a crusty, like traditional pizza texture. So I added a little bit of coconut flour and some baking powder, which all the recipes I seen did not have that. I started off by adding my chicken to a large bowl and making sure that I mashed it very finely. I did not want it to have big chicken chunks. I felt like for me, it would defeat the whole entire purpose of us psyching ourselves out to thinking it is an actual crust. I then went on to add 2 eggs. After mixing it thoroughly, I added my half cup of grated Parmesan, and then I began to season it lightly. I added a little bit of black pepper, some oregano flakes, some onion powder, and some garlic powder. I was sure not to add salt because I knew it was already going to be salty. I also added some red pepper flakes to that. And here I'm adding my 1 tablespoon of baking powder and my 1 tablespoon of coconut flour. I decided on coconut flour as it is very drying and I did not want the chicken to produce moisture. And of course, baking powder will also suck the moisture out of it as well as give it a fluff texture. I don't know. It worked though. You should have something that looked like this. To my cast iron skillet, I added 1 tablespoon of grapeseed oil, but then I did the silliest thing by using a napkin to spread it evenly. You don't want to do that. Just use a silicone brush and spread it evenly. The napkin sucked up all of the oil and my pizza kind of stuck to the bottom. But anyway, I figured if I put it in a hot cast iron skillet on my stove, it will start the process of cooking the pizza crust and make it a little bit easier for me to shape it. So that's what I did. And doesn't that look good? I also poked some holes in it so that it can aerate while it bakes in the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. Here are my veggies. I'm using an array of veggies as well as some kielbasa sausage, and I have 3 strips of bacon here. So you just see jalapenos, spring onions, and some bell peppers. So here's my crust after 10 minutes, and I was quite surprised at how it was looking and shaping. I got excited. I have some homemade Alfredo sauce that I'm adding to this, and I only used half a cup. And it's just something I keep on hand, especially like if you're keto or even low carb. It's a great thing to keep on hand. You can make both a regular keto version or a fat-free version of Alfredo sauce, and it's super easy. I'm adding some shredded mozzarella as well as my toppings. At this point, you guys, if you decide to recreate this, put whatever toppings you personally like in your home and that fits into your macros and your diet. And this is just what I'm adding.
I'm just looking for them pretty hoes, who be all up in the video, pretty hoes, who be all up in the video.
I I tell you, this pizza has not even baked yet, and already it is looking so good. Oh my gosh, it looks amazing already. I'm topping it off with just a little bit more cheese. Again, grate your own cheese, it's better. This made 6 servings, believe it or not.
Won't make this shit last. Pretty house. Who be all up in that video? Pretty house. Maybe we can.
I let it bake for 15 minutes in 400-degree oven, and yeah, this is what I have. Like I mentioned, this made 6 servings, 2 slices per serving. The specs are really low, as you can see on the side of the screen. I entered my macros for you guys so that you can get an idea of what each of my meals look like.
Live with the camera on it, girl. Don't be acting shy. I might not be the right one. It might not be the right time. I'm just looking for a pretty hoe. Maybe shoot a video, flip it through the plan, try to make it in the city though.
Next up, for my dinner, I'm making some Asian-inspired salmon and shrimp stir-fried noodles, sort of like a lo mein, if you will. And this was so good. Let me show you how I put it together. So I took less than a pound of salmon and I cut it into chunks, sort of like the salmon nuggets that everybody likes to do. I don't know why people are making a big deal of it. It's literally just salmon cut differently. That's it. I added a tablespoon of grapeseed oil, and then I went in with onion powder, a little bit of black pepper, no salt, but I did add a little bit of Old Bay seasoning to my salmon. I didn't add much because I didn't want it to overpower it.
Cause I'm just looking for that pretty hoe.
I then added my garlic and my ginger to the dish, and yes, it was fresh garlic and ginger, followed by some sesame oil, a little bit of oyster sauce, a little bit of fish sauce, and of course some teriyaki. And that was it. It was super simple. That was my entire sauce base that I made. Super simple. I added some allulose liquid sugar in replacement of honey or brown sugar if you wanted to, but you can definitely use brown sugar if you wanted, but I wanted to keep the sugars out of my meal altogether. So I just added the allulose liquid sweetener substitute, giving it a good mix. And then I'm going to let that marinate for 30 minutes. It didn't need more than that. I just simply let it sit on my counter for 30 minutes. Let me show you the veggies that I'm using to bulk up my meal. I'm going in with some cabbage, and I have about 3 cups of cabbage here and 2 cups of broccoli. I already washed them in water and vinegar. And then I have about a cup of carrots that I sliced very thin, 1 cup of green bell peppers, and a half cup and 1 cup of red onions, as well as 2 stalks of green scallions. That's everything I'm going to use to bulk up the dish. Here are my noodles. I love shirataki noodles. I know it is a love-hate relationship for some people, but for me, I always have it in my home. It is so good because it takes on the flavor of whatever you cook, and I personally love it. I know a lot of people don't because of the texture, but I find that if you keep a crunchy texture in the dish, it offsets the texture, if that makes any sense. But shirataki noodles is a must in my home. For my salmon, I simply put it in my air fryer and let it air fry for about 8 minutes on 375. And while that happened, I got my shirataki noodles together. And I've showed this before. I learned from Chef Risha. After washing your shirataki in completely cold water, put it to a piping hot pan and let it sweat out. Make sure you let all the water dissipate, and you know it's ready when it starts to stick to the dry pan. It changes the texture of the noodles, and magic happens. Like I said, I have worked with shirataki noodles enough to know, like, I just love it. I love it. I'm adding a tablespoon of oil, and then I am going to fry my cabbage. This is on extremely high heat. I want some caramelization going, and I want it to start charring. My camera will adjust its color shortly. I'm sorry about the color. I didn't know that the preset changed, but there you go. I started to let the cabbage caramelize and almost get like a smoky flavor to give and bring out the traditional Asian taste that you tend to taste in the meals at times, and it's because of the cooking temperature. I then added my broccoli and my carrots to start letting them sweat out. And I didn't want my vegetables too soft, but I did not want them too raw. As you can see here, it's perfect. I'm going in with the marinade from the salmon earlier because that is not our sauce. And don't worry, when you cook it in high temperature, everything cooks out and it becomes edible. Just make sure you use all of the sauce and also make sure you fully cook it out. And so that's what I'm doing. One thing I forgot to do was add some xanthan gum to thicken my sauce so the sauce didn't get extra thick like it's supposed to. I actually forgot that step, but it was still so amazing, I promise you guys.
Get under my skin, baby, let me tuck you in. Put you to sleep right, persuasive, enticing. Burn your body like a match, pop like a black cat, light up the whole night.
Here I'm adding in my shrimp, and I'll be adding in some more of the sauce and my noodles, and tossing the remainder of the sauce in it and letting everything cook down for approximately 5 to 7 minutes. And yeah, when it's done, oh baby, when it's done, let me tell you, this made 4 servings. My family and I devoured it. We devoured it. With this particular recipe, if you are keto and you want to bring the carb count lower than that, you would cut the carrots out.
She crazy, I like it. Get under my skin, baby, let me tuck you in. Put you to sleep right, persuasive, enticing. Burn your body like a match, pop like a black cat, light up the whole night. Every time my baby come around me, she can't come and get it. Put her down like Paris, that's grounded. Have you seen different colors? Let me take you high. Look up in the sky, make you pop off like power. Yeah, pop off like power. Yeah, you got me caught up. Yeah.
And I know you guys didn't think we were gonna eat all that delicious food and not get a little something sweet, and you know how it goes. Now I just need a little something sweet, and for that I'm making these keto lakanto brownies. Now I have introduced this to my channel before. I really do like this brownie mix. However, I like to do just a little tweaking to make it just that much better. So for the base, of course, I'm using this brownie mix, and the calorie specs are fairly low on the mix alone without all the additives. But once you add the eggs, the coconut oil, and everything else, that's where the calories go up in bulk. However, on the packet, it says 9 servings, but I was able to get it to 12. And here you will see my little additives that I do to just take this up another notch. In my opinion, the mix alone is not sweet enough for our sweet tooth liking, so I add a little bit of the brown swerve sugar, just about 1.5 tablespoons. And for me, that brings it up to the level of sweetness that I would want if I was eating this without any ice cream or anything like that. And then I just followed the instructions on the packet. One other secret ingredient I add is 1 tablespoon of peanut butter. You don't taste the peanut butter, but it adds a creaminess. I add in my extract, a pinch of salt, give it a mix, and then I bake. It's that simple. That's all I actually do to it. You don't even have to do this if you don't want to, but I just feel like it makes it a little bit, I don't know, it adds a little extra flair to it. The brownies are fudgy. It's really, really good. And I've raved about it before on my channel. So yeah, that's what I'm having. I will admit it does not look the prettiest here, but you know, once it baked, you guys can't tell me nothing, okay?
I'm just looking for a pretty help. Maybe shoot a video, flip it to the gram, try to make it in the city. Down, go, couple fans, got a red bone, really don't split, check the photos, yeah. Ooh.
As I mentioned, I was able to cut it into 12 pieces, and those are 12 nice size squares of brownies. Do you hear me? That's 12 servings of brownies. They look so good. It was so fudgy, so soft, so moist, just perfect. Crusty on the top, moist in the center, fudgy. I topped it with some keto ice cream, and yeah, it was just the perfect snack. Now, I want to show you guys my macros. As I mentioned in my previous video, I'm teeter-tottering between keto and low carb. This month, I'm refining that. So on that particular day, I didn't do the best. It was like an in-between keto and low carb day with my macros, and opposed to the day before, where you see that my actual macros were good. It was better. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave some suggestions down below, talk to me in the comment section, and follow me on my social media networks. Bye.